Hey everybody, Sean from Media Assault here, and it's time for me to do my second of the 4 Halloween horror video reviews that I'm doing this month. And this time out, I am doing The Watcher in the Woods, which is from 1980. This was actually released by Walt Disney, which may sound strange for me to do a horror movie from Walt Disney. And strictly speaking, this is less a horror movie and more of a supernatural thriller type of a movie. But I did mention this in my September 2011 pickups video as a movie that I had heard a lot about when I was younger, but never got a chance to see it because I thought it just disappeared off the radar. I'd never heard that it came out, didn't hear anything about it at all. I have since found out that it was released in 1980 and fared pretty badly with audiences. So Disney pulled it and then redid the ending and then re-released it in 1981 to slightly better results from the audiences, but still it was not exactly the hit they were looking for. They were looking apparently for their answer to The Exorcist or something similar to that. And before I even review the film, let me just say that this movie falls way short of The Exorcist. But it is an interesting film. The plot centers around an American family living in England. They're looking for a place to rent, to live, and the real estate agent shows them this big mansion that is actually cared for by a character played by Bette Davis. And she is sort of the caretaker of the property, even though she owns it, and she has asked the real estate agent that she give the okay to whoever would eventually live there. And when this American family shows up, she says that she'll take a chance on them. There is a mother, father, and 2 young daughters. The daughters are played by Lynn-Holly Johnson and Kyle Richards. And soon after they arrive, the daughters start to experience something that they can't really explain. There's sort of a connection to something in the woods. And they later find out that Bette Davis's character lost her daughter at a very young age under sort of suspicious circumstances. And I won't spoil any of that. But the daughters feel that maybe that this connection that they're feeling to the woods is somehow connected to the daughter, the missing daughter, that was lost long ago. It's a cool concept, I'll give it that. Unfortunately, the movie is ruined by pretty terrible acting, especially on the part of Lynn-Holly Johnson, who many of you may know from a movie from 1978 called Ice Castles, where she played a blind figure skater. And Lynn-Holly Johnson is actually a figure skater herself, or at least she was. And you may remember her from James Bond film, I believe it was For Your Eyes Only with Roger Moore. She was in that as well. I think that actually came out a year after The Watcher in the Woods. However, she's terrible in this movie. She delivers her lines in a way that just seems totally out of context for the scene she's in. She doesn't work at all. Kyle Richards, her young sister in the movie, fares a little bit better. Even Bette Davis seems a little off in this movie for somebody who's won an Oscar 2 times. I think she was 72 when this movie was made. She looks like she's there just for the paycheck and maybe a warm meal from the caterer. He's not looking too good. I know a lot of people watched this when they were younger and found it to be good, and that's what I would recommend this movie, or who I would recommend this movie for, is for maybe like a starter horror film for kids. It's got a few pretty effective jump scares in it. The content is a little dark for a Walt Disney film, so be advised if you see the Disney logo on it and you're thinking, oh, it's Disney, it's probably pretty safe. Well, it is pretty safe and pretty tame, but it could be pretty scary for younger people. But I would call it sort of like a starter horror movie or a beginner's horror movie, because I could see it being pretty disturbing and creepy for somebody who's pretty young. I wasn't expecting to be shocked out of my mind watching this because it is, in fact, a Disney film. But it's just got way too many problems to be a good movie, much less a really effective scary film for an adult. So I was very disappointed. I was hoping it would be something really cool. I know it has somewhat of a cult following, but I just really couldn't get into it. So if I had to give it a rating, I would give it a 4 out of 10. But if you're under the age of 10, you may find this really cool. Although I might suspect that younger people might get a little bored with it because it does kind of have a slow start. But once things get rolling, it may pick up for younger audiences. But if you're over the age of 10, tread with some low expectations. So that's my review of The Watcher in the Woods, the second of my Halloween horror movies for October 2011. I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do next, so just stay tuned and see what it is. And as always, feel free to comment, rate, and subscribe if you haven't done so already. Thanks for watching. Take it easy.